Good morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. We begin this morning with tensions between Chicago's police force and Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Following last week's deadly shooting of Officer Ella French, which also seriously wounded her partner, the mayor has been under fire for not supporting the police, despite calling for unity and moving beyond the division. When the mayor arrived at the University of Chicago Medical Center the night of the event, reports were that she was greeted coldly, with officers present turning their backs on her. So where do things go from here? My next guest is a former Chicago police officer, chairman of the City Council Committee on Public Safety, 29th Ward Alderman Chris Taliaferro. Welcome back to the show, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you, Paul. It's good to see you as well.
So obviously this event of last weekend leading to the death of the 29-year-old Officer French really shaking people up. And it just seems like the message for peace and to put the guns down, it's not getting through to anybody when it comes to killing ordinary people and even police officers. What's your take on this? Why doesn't anybody listen?
Well, Paul, I think we have to, and this is one of the things that I've seen in the city. We've had, we have been finger pointing for quite some time now. And I think we have to get away from finger pointing and start working together. And that's from every level of government, whether it's our state's attorney's office, whether it's our U.S. attorneys, the city of Chicago itself, our police departments. We have to start working together if we are going to make a difference in reducing violence in the city of Chicago.
So let me ask you.
So far, we've not done that to the degree where it's working.
So Alderman, let me ask you then, does the mayor deserve the criticism she's getting, and what is it she should be doing that she's not?
Well, Paul, I don't think there's much criticism that she's facing. There was some alleged incidents at the hospital following the death and the unfortunate death of Officer Ella French. But that's not indicative of, the tough struggles that we've had in trying to reform our Chicago Police Department. Our officers were, as rightfully so, their emotions were very high at a very difficult time on the police department and a very difficult time for themselves and their colleagues. So I don't want to categorize it as a turning of the back on the mayor of lack of support for our mayor, because I know our mayor strongly supports the Chicago Police Department and its officers.
I wonder if part of the frustration maybe among citizens might be this. I mean, when you look at the low clearance rate of the city, meaning crimes for which at least one person gets charged, that kind of thing. Here's the thing. There's been some improvement in recent years. But in 2020, the rate of clearance dropped from 50.3% in 2019 down to 44.5%. And in a WBEZ radio analysis in 2019, basically, it looks at, when you look at the rate of solved crimes for white victims, that's 47%, 33% for Hispanics, less than 22% for African Americans. Is there a systemic problem that suggests why it seems that the violence against African Americans just doesn't get the clearance and the resolution that others do?
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's something that we've tried to bring light to and shed some light on by having that issue discussed in the Committee on Public Safety. We hosted that meeting. It was a very important meeting where we did get some answers. But also, I think what we did bring to light is, some differences on how crimes are reported and how they are solved, and how those ones that are solved are counted as well. There's some differences in which the way in which the media has identified and recorded them as on a percentage basis in the way that our Chicago Police Department does. And that's why you see a difference. The Chicago Police Department may report a 57 to 58% clearance rate, whereas the media may report a 19 or 20% clearance rate. And it's all about the difference on how the two different entities will report a solved crime. Yeah. To give you a short example, Paul, and I'll be very quick. If a crime happened in 2020 and it gets solved in 2021, the media does not report that as a factor with regard to 2020 statistics. And so there we have a difference, whereas our department does. Right. So it may be considered a clearance in the 2021, but it's not being counted because it wasn't cleared in the year in which it occurred.
And fair enough. So we may have to look back at some of those stats. None of these related issues. For example, one of the defendants, Jamal Danzi of Hammond, he was charged, as you probably know, in connection with the straw purchase of the alleged weapon used in this crime. And of course, he's out on bail. And you've had the other frustrations lately of people who are charged with murder, but then being released on electric monitoring. Is that a problem here as well? The fact that these very serious alleged offenders are then finding their way on the streets quickly for whatever reason?
It's a problem. It is a problem. And I'm frustrated as well to hear that, this gentleman that purchased a weapon and gave it to the shooter, and that gun ended up killing a Chicago police officer. Whether it kills a police officer or anyone, he should not have walked on a bond that is very much akin to a recognizance bond. He should not have. And so that's what we are all frustrated about. And that's what I said, if you look at the very beginning, we have to work as a unit and as a group if we are going to make a difference in this city. We have too many violent offenders that are being released back into our neighborhoods. And when I say violent, I mean those that are violent with guns or knives. Yeah. They're being let right back into our neighborhoods. So let's work with the state's attorney's office or the U.S. attorney's office in the city of Chicago, wherever these crimes are occurring, to get these folks off the street because they are causing harm.
Yeah, Alderman, less than a minute left, but many on City Council, of course, are pro-police, certainly. Anthony Napolitano, Nick Sposato, very vocal about that. But in response to some of that strong support, recently Alderman Jeanette Taylor of the 20th Ward said, killing anybody is wrong. The problem is when the police do it, it's overlooked. When they get killed, it takes 2.5 seconds to find and catch somebody. Is she right? Does she have legitimate criticism?
Well, she does have a legitimate criticism. I think all of us do. No matter what our opinions may be, it's legitimate to us. And many of us may see it differently. But I think, in reading that article that where my colleague was quoted, I think she has some strong points that should be made and that were made. And I could certainly support some of her points.
All right. It's a tough issue, obviously, Alderman. I thank you for your insight as we walk through this. We're going to keep an eye on it. We'll talk again with you about this in the future. Alderman Chris Taliaferro, the 29th Ward, and a former officer. Thanks for your service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Paul.
All right.